Alright guys, so now the back side. I know it kind of got cut off, but they want us to identify the slope, the y-intercept, and then graph the equation. So remember, in the equation, y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is our y-intercept. So slope is always attached to the variable x, so our slope is 1/2, and our y-intercept is -6. So when you guys go to graph it, remember to always start at the y-intercept. So I am going to go down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put your first point there. And then you're going to perform slope 2 times to plot your other points. So your slope is 1/2. You're going to go up 2 or up 1 over 2, put a point, and then go up 1 over 2 and put a point. Then just draw your line through those points, and that is that graph there. Alright, next one, slope is always attached to the x, so your slope is 4, or in other words 4 over 1, because that will help us graph. And then our y-intercept is 3. So when you guys go to graph it, always start with the y-intercept, so you're going to go up 3 and put a point there on the y-axis because that's where the line will cross at. And then you guys will perform slope 2 times. So this is saying you're going to rise up 4 and run 1. So up 4 over 1. And notice that you can't go any higher. So what do you do to make 3 points? Well, go back to the point you started with, and instead of going up 4, you're going to go down 4. And then instead of running to the right one, you'll run to the left one, so that you guys can get 3 points on there. Alright, and then this last one, your slope is -2/3. And remember, the negative sign always goes with the top number or your rise, because if you can't rise, then you fall, and that's what the negative sign means. Your y-intercept is 2. So again, always start at your y-intercept. So in this case, we're going to start at 2, and then we are going to perform slope 2 times. So this is saying down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. And remember, you always, 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 always run to the right. Alright, so those are what your lines should look at. Again, pause the video at any time, but I'm just going to keep on going. And next, now we are given the line, and they want us to find the slope, the y-intercept, and then make the equation. So first thing, slope. So remember, slope is rise over run. You're always going to start with the point furthest to the left. So in this case, I'm going to start at this point. So I am going to rise up. So 1, 2, 3. I rose up 3 to get to my second point, and then I ran 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is 3 over 4. The y-intercept is where it crosses out on the y-axis, so in this case it's at 1. So then to make your equation, y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So it should be y equals 3/4 x plus 1. Alright, next one. So same thing, find your slope. Always start with the point furthest to the left. So in this case, I'll start here. And if you can't rise, then you have to fall, and that tells you that it's negative. So we're going to fall 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to fall 4, and we're going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, our slope is -4 over 4, but you guys have to simplify. So when you simplify, this simplifies down to -1 or -1 over 1. Our y-intercept crosses at 0. So our equation is just y equals -1x or -1 over 1x or just -x. Alright, and the last one. So gonna find the slope. Notice how I'm gonna go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my slope is negative 1/6. My y-intercept, it crosses at 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis, which means my slope-intercept form equation is y equals negative 1/6x plus 4. Alright guys, and the last part down here, so write each equation in slope-intercept form, then graph the line. Excuse me. So notice how they want us to find the slope and the y-intercept. However, notice how our slope-intercept form is always y equals mx plus b, and that none of these equations are in this form. So what you guys are going to have to do is you are going to have to solve for y by solving an equation. So if you want to solve for y here, you need to move the 2x over to the other side. And to do that, you're going to subtract 2x. So your 2x minus 2x will cancel. You'll be left with 4y equals. You can't take negative 6 minus 2x because those are not like terms. So you'll just rewrite the problem. And then your last step to get y by itself is to divide by 4. And please remember, when you divide by 4, you're dividing it to everything on the right side of that equal sign. And then let's see what we get. So negative 6 divided by 4 will give us negative 6 over 4, or that reduces to negative 3/2. So I'm going to write it down here. And then negative 2 divided by 4 will give us the negative 1/2. Alright, so now that we have this, we can now tell what our slope and y-intercept are. So remember, slope is always attached to the x. So in this case, our slope is negative 1/2. And then our y-intercept is negative 3/2. So let's graph it. So always start with the y-intercept. So in this case, it's negative 3/2 or negative 1.5. So that's about right here. And then our slope is negative 1 over 2. So that means we're going to go down 1 to where we're at negative 2.5 and over 2. Down 1 over 2. And that's what that's going to look like. Alright, so same thing with the next one. We need to get y by itself, which means we need to move this minus 3x over to the other side. So the opposite of this negative 3x or subtracting a 3x is to add it, or a positive. So your minus 3x plus 3x will cancel. You're going to be left with minus 2y equals. You can't add these together because they're not like terms, so you're just going to rewrite it. And then we still need to get y by itself, so we need to divide by this negative 2 on both sides. And then let's figure out what we get. So we get y equals 4 divided by negative 2 will give us negative 2. And then 3 divided by negative 2 won't give us a good number, so we can just leave it as a fraction. Oh, that should be positive. No, sorry, that should be negative. Alright, so our slope is always attached to the x, so in this case it's going to be negative 3/2. And then your b is your y-intercept, so that is the negative 2. So when I go to graph it, always start with the y-intercept, so I'm going to put a point at negative 2 down here. And then my slope is telling me to fall 3 and run 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Notice that I can't keep going this way because I'm going to run out of room, so I need to go the opposite way. So instead of falling 3, I'm going to rise 3. 1, 2, 3. And instead of running to the right, I'm going to run to the left. right, and our very last question here. So we need to still get y by itself, so we need to move this 2x. So I need to subtract it to move it over to the other side. So now I get negative y equals 4 minus 2x. And we need this y to be positive, so I need to move this negative sign. Remember, you could put an imaginary 1 out in front of that y. So hopefully this can help you guys remember, okay, negative 1 and the y are multiplying, so the opposite of multiplying is to divide. So let's see what we get. So this now becomes y equals 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. And negative 2x divided by negative 1 is just a positive 2x. Alright, so our slope is positive 2, or remember you probably want to put it as a fraction so that you can rise and then run, so 2 over 1, and then your y-intercept is negative 4. Alright, so always start at the y-intercept, so we're going to start at negative 4 on the y-axis, and then our slope is telling us to go up 2 over 1. And you want to do that 2 times. Draw your line here. And that is it. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you please email me since you guys have this quiz on Monday. You guys also had the homework assignment to do as well, so just please email me if you guys need help with anything. But other than that, please study for your quiz and just email for questions.